gracious God, creator of the universe, and yet the lover of my soul. Alpha and Omega, and yet I can call you friend. I don't have to beg you for anything, but I can thank you for everything. God, I thank you because this is the day that you have made, and I can rejoice and be glad in it. Thank you for this day of magnificence and glory and splendor. God, I thank you for life, health, and for strength. I thank you for soundness of mind. I thank you for peace, love, and joy. I thank you for the essence of you that envelops me right now, from the crown of my head to the soles of my feet. We thank you for this day of manifestation. We thank you for the day of revelation. We thank you for the day of impartation. We thank you as you move in the midst of your people to bring us to the greatest times that we've ever seen since the foundation of the world. Thank you, Lord, that for this time and for this season, you've allowed us to be a part of your move in the face of the earth. I thank you, God, for the revolution that you're bringing forth, God, even in the midst of the earth right now. And I thank you for the opportunity to be a part of what you're doing in this hour, because in the last days, saith God, you said you would pour out your spirit on all flesh. And so now we thank you for the pouring out. God, I thank you for the rain and the move of your spirit. I thank you for fresh oil. I thank you for new wine. I thank you for the new thing that you're doing. I thank you now that it does spring forth. I thank you, Lord, that you've called us to be the head and not the tail. You've called us to be above only and not beneath. You've called us to be the lender and not the borrower. You've called, God, that our storehouses would be full and increase. God, I thank you because even I decree and declare that the people under the sound of my voice, even now, are moving in the might of your strength. Not by might nor by power, but by your spirit. I thank you for those that are the sons and daughters of God that are called because they walk not after the flesh, but after your spirit. I thank you for the rising up of the people of your kingdom. I thank you that your kingdom come. I thank you that your will be done, even now in earth as it is in heaven. I thank you, Lord, because you are moving in the midst of your people mightily as never before. Raise us up, oh God, to the standard of what you've called us to be. God, I thank you for the standard of greatness. I thank you for the standard of holiness. I thank you for the standard of moving as the sons and daughters of yours, and not as vagabonds, not as those that never knew you, not as those that are confused and confounded, but God, those that know who they are in you. I thank you for the knowing. I thank you, God, for knowing you. I thank you for knowing your presence. Thank you for knowing your Holy Ghost power that gives us the ability to be successful. Your anointing that gives us the power to rise up and be called blessed. Thank you for that is in us. Thank you, God, for all things that pertain to life and godliness. Thank you because we are not confused. We are not deceived. And we thank you for that clarity of mind and the clarity of vision that allows us to walk forth as kings and queens, as princes and princesses in the kingdom that walk in the earth. We thank you that we are your beloved, and we rise up as the apple of your eye. We rise up, oh God, as those that you love with all of your heart. And God, we love you back. I thank you for soundness of mind. I thank you for soundness of spirit. I thank you that healing is our bread. Healing is our deliverance. By the stripes of Jesus, we're already healed. And we speak forth that healing even now for those that need it. Thank you, God, for every stripe that was taken. Thank you for the bruising. Thank you that he was wounded for our transgressions, bruised for our iniquities. The chastisement of our peace was upon him. God, with those same stripes we declare and we speak healing in Jesus' name. We give you glory, we give you peace, we give you honor, we give you blessing, we give you might. We ascribe all of these things unto you because they are yours. Thank you, the fruit of my lips giving thanks unto your name, ever giving you all that is yours. Glory, honor, power, dominion, majesty, it's yours. I decree it and I speak it In the mighty name of Jesus, it is so. Amen and amen.
Well, good morning, good morning, good morning. I want to welcome you to today's edition of Yes, You, O Cube. What does O Cube stand for? One-on-one, because it's just me and you. I am the spiritual thought leader, Regina L. Stillman, and I want to welcome you on today. Cheering, it's Thursday. Can you believe that it's Thursday already? September the 28th, September is gone already, in the year 2023, and it's another day's journey, and I'm glad about it. Now, thank you for getting up bright and early this morning to be with me here in the Lion's Den. And I tell you what, we got something for you this morning. We're going to go through some things and share some info. And Michelle Brownell has a very nice clip for us to watch on today. We're going to let that beautiful bean footage roll about colorism. Listen, this is going to be an extension of love and hip hop. So get the young folks out. Tell them to come on in here and check us out. Get the old folks come in. Tell them to check us out. Get the middle-aged folk. Tell everybody to come and check us out, because we're going to have a conversation this morning about colorism in the Black community. Now, listen, I want to go over here and get this party started. You know how we do it. We love to come to the Lion's Den and see who came in this morning, bringing all the love, joy, peace, soul, and happiness into the Lion's Den. So let's get that party started. Now, coming in, and I appreciate you for this. Life is a marathon, not a sprint. So pace yourself for the process. Grand rising to all the kings and queens. That's from Demon Fox to God. I love you, sir. Yes, Demon Fox to God. That's my guy right there. That's my guy right there. Love me some him. Thank you for bringing that to us this morning. And you're absolutely right. It is not a sprint. It is a marathon. The race isn't given to the swift nor the battle to the strong. I need you to endure to the end. That's what it's all about. Then I had my guy. Yes, my guy, my Mufasa. He came in this morning bringing all the love, joy, peace, soul, and happiness with him as well. I want to give it up for Truck Driver. Come on in here, my guy. He said, security's just running a little bit late this morning, but he made it, and I'm so glad that he made it on this morning. Come on in here, my brother. That's him. Listen, tell 2 palms down and 10 toes up. And even after then, my friend, even after then, I love me some Truck. Now, the third person in the Lion's Den this morning was CJ Manning 7, come on in there, my brother. Go ahead and sit down on that love seat. Go right ahead and sit down on that love seat. Yes, yes, yes. He said, I just made it to the love seat. You made it, CJ Manning 7. You made, listen, I done put DJ Rockin' Ron up there. CJ Manning 7, that ain't me. Oh boy, cheering. It's going to be a good one. I can tell already. It's going to be a good one. Then my sister. I'm so sorry about that, CJ Manning 7. I need a pic. I need to get a picture of you, my brother. I need to get a picture of you. And DJ Rockin' Ron, I love you too. That's my guy as well. Now listen, and can I say this? Is it K2 Hoop? I'm telling you, it's going to be one of those kind of mornings. I can already tell. I want to say I appreciate these brothers. When you have the streamers that come in, I'm telling you, the streamers that come in and are faithful to support another streamer's stream. Listen, that's a beautiful thing. I just want to applaud all the streamers that come in the Lion's Den and support on the regular. I love y'all. morning, CJ Manning. I got to get a picture of you, my brother. I got to get a pic. Now, and go ahead and sit down on that love seat. You got there just in time to get there. Now, the second person to make it in the Lion's Den, and listen, Black Lives Matter, Dr. Dady. Black Lives Matter. That's the way I woke up feeling this morning. We matter. And I tell it and scream it from the rooftops. I absolutely positively will. Now, I want to appreciate the second person to make it in the Lion's Den this morning. Sassy Cassie, otherwise known as Cassandra Isaiah. Come on in here, sis. Yes, you and CJ Manning, sit down right over there. Sit down right over there and enjoy yourself as we go forward in this stream. I appreciate you. That's my sister from Oklahoma, where the wind comes streaming down the main. Come on, Sassy Cassie. But the winner of Grandpa Holmes's chair is none other than KK79, otherwise known as KK Michelle. You are the winner of Grandpa Holmes' chair. Get your lips, your hips, and your fingertips right on over there and have a seat. So much mad love to you. Mother said, I'm in here, y'all. I'm in here. I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, KK, and I appreciate you. That's my beautiful soul right there. Listen, they just don't come any more beautiful than that sister right there. I appreciate all of you for making sure there's plenty of love, joy, peace, soul, and happiness in the Lion's Den. Then you know where I like to go from here. I have the best moderators in the world. I absolutely positively do. The absolute best. Come on in here, and we got to give it up. Get that mod love out. Get that mod love out. Shelly Thunder. Yes, Shelly Thunder is the prophetess. Shelly Thunder will give you a scripture. She'll pray the prayer of faith. She will do it. Yes, and she'll block your tail. Please believe it. I see your mod love, Joanna G. I see that mod love, CJ Manning. I see that mod love, Shelly Thunder. I see that mod love because they deserve it. I see that mod love, Cassandra Woke. I see that mod love. Sure will. She'll block your tail. Please believe it. Then we got the leader of the pack, none other than the galactic supervisor. Yes, my Ace Boone Coon, my number one, day one. Come on in here for the Rebel Inc. And the Rebel Inc. is a streamer, you all. If you're not following the Rebel Inc., quit your ways. Just quit them, because I promise you, she'll bless your whole life. We're going to go over there and spend some time with her. As soon as we get finished with station identification, we'll be over there and we will be with the rebellious ones. Come go with us. We will do you good. Then we got my next beautiful sweetheart right here, the Quiet Storm. And the Quiet Storm is my angel. DJ Big Ed Smith, quit chewing ways. I see that mod love, Cassandra Woke. Yes, Michelle Browno is my angel and the Quiet Storm. She changes the atmosphere just by being in it. These three right here I call my blessed trinity because there's nobody like them nowhere. Now, as my mother said, when you walk in the room, speak to somebody. So I'm going to come around and say good morning to the peoples, the good peoples in the room, as Rebel would say. The peoples are here. Dr. Dady Priest. Listen, Dr. Dady Priest is a streamer, you all. She will teach you that engagement matters. I'm so glad that the high priestess is here. If you're not following Dr. Dady Priest, quit chewing your ways. Just quit them. She's going to bless your whole life. I promise you she will. Coming on down, and Joanna G, that's my beautiful blessed sister right there. I love me some you, Joanna G. Come on in here and let's have a chit chat. Then we got Demon Fox to God, y'all. Demon Fox to God. Listen, he is another streamer. If you're not following Demon Fox to God, quit your wicked ways. Just quit them, because I promise you there's a blessing in the present. Demon Fox, I appreciate you every day coming in and giving words of encouragement to the Lion's Den. I appreciate you for that, my brother. Nobody like you. Nobody like you. Glenda M. Groves is in here in YouTube this morning. Good morning to my beautiful sister. I appreciate you for being here, and let's go. K2 Hoop. Listen, this enlightened sister right here, I want to say good morning to you. Good morning to you and your cheering, and your cheering's cheering, and as many as the Lord thy God shall call. Because, baby, you raising up a tribe. You raising up a group that's enlightened, and I want to see all of y'all come to the fullness of your success, because it's happening. Coming on down, and who else do I see? I see, oh my goodness, there she is. Shelly Thunder. Yes, Shelly Thunder, y'all. She is the mod extraordinaire. I appreciate you, and I love me some you. You are precious to my soul. Thunderclaps all over the place. Come through, come through. And I appreciate what you sent me this morning, sis. It really blessed my soul. Let me say that. You blessed my soul, Shelly. You really, really did. Then we got none other than the Rebel Inc. Yes, the Rebel Inc. is a streamer, y'all. Listen, she's the chair of the Rebellious House, the galactic supervisor, not your district supervisor, not your state supervisor, not your national supervisor. She's the galactic supervisor. And I appreciate you this morning, honey. She got anti-morning bangos and the cracks in full motion. She'll give you a Ranapalooza. She'll give you some of everything. Six Eye Thursday is on for today, cheering. We gonna go over there and see some thick thighs. Yes, we are. We gonna see. Anyway, that is the Rebel Inc. Good morning, and good morning to you. Coming on down, and I'm seeing who else is in the room. I'm looking and booking. I'm making a list. CJ Manning 7. If I didn't say good morning to you, let me say good morning to you now. Cassandra Woke 2022. That's my girl. Listen, that's my poet laureate, and she's my sister from Oklahoma, where the wind comes streaming down the main. There we go, CJ Manning 7. He is a streamer, and if you're not following that brother, quit your wicked ways. Just quit them, because there's a blessing in the present. Coming on down, and I want to see DJ Big Ed Smith is in the room, y'all. Big Ed is here, and as I said, he's a streamer. If you're not following DJ Big Ed Smith, quit your wicked ways. Just quit them. And Big Ed, thank you for being here this morning. I appreciate you. Nothing but mad love to you. Coming on down, and I'm looking and booking to see who came in the basement while I was upstairs. Truck driver. There's my Mufasa. There's my Lion King. It is so good to see you on this morning, truck driver. I'm telling you, nothing but mad love to you, my brother. And at the end of the day, there's that fine brother right there. At the end of the day, this brother will bless your whole entire life. I appreciate you for being in here. Tell 2 palms down and 10 toes up and beyond. I love me some you. Coming on down, and I'm looking and booking and seeing who came in the basement while I was upstairs. I don't want to miss anybody that came in the Lion's Den. Now, with that being said, KK Michelle is out there in Facebook holding it down. Good morning to you, KK. And you know you are my beautiful soul. Nothing but mad love to you. I appreciate you, and blessings right back to you, DJ Big Ed Smith. Love me some you. To everybody that's here in my stream chatting, and to those that are not chatting, I want to say good morning to you. Those that are not chatting, just by holding the space and being here, I want to appreciate you. That's the way we're doing it this morning. That's the way we're doing it this morning. I love y'all. I really do. Now, listen, we coming on down because, Liz, I got something for you. And we're going to, listen, they keep putting this little girl in here. I got to show her to y'all because this is the way they're coming in the morning time. This is the way they're coming in the morning time. Y'all, this little girl right here, I'm telling you, this is how the saints keep coming in, and they are just killing me with this little girl. Check out the hair. This is a lesson in static electricity. This is what static electricity will do to you. As you see the friction going as she's sliding down, and then she got on that clothing that is just perfect for conducting, yes, the conductivity of that friction and the electricity that then transfers right on up there to her hair. And what you end up with is a peacock. Y'all just keep putting that little girl in there. Every time I see it, I just crack up. That's the way we came in this morning. Dr. Dady Priest, I had to break it down for you. That's what happens when static electricity goes through your whole body. She's one big battery. Yes, she is. Come on. It's a fresh brew. Now listen, I see your coffee cup, Joanna G. I see your coffee cup, Rebel. I see y'all out there. Let's get this party crack-a-lackin'. Let's get this party going. Because listen, I got some things to talk to you about. And by the top of the hour, I see your coffee cup, Shelly Thunder. By the top of the hour, Michelle Brownell has shared something on colorism, and I'm going to let that beautiful bean footage roll. I see your coffee cup, Dr. Dady Priest. I see your coffee cup, KK Michelle. Let's get this party started. Because listen, what happened was, whilst we slumbered, slept, and slobbered, it was reported to me, Cheering. It was reported to me. Now, looky. At the end of the day, I want to deal with some things, Cheering. I'm going to go back and I'm going to pull this out. This is going to really not so much be a matter of what happened while we slept, but I want to start off with reminding us of how we used to have to travel. And these individuals here share their experiences. And, you know, I'm always mindful that sometimes our younger generation may not know all that we had to go through back in the day. So this goes back to Green Book movement days, and people are giving their memories and their recollections. I appreciate just remembering, lest we forget what all we've been through and where we've come from. These folks are talking about traveling while black, and things haven't changed too much, Cheering. Things have not changed too much, but here we go. Here we go.
So that we try to get to North Carolina just after dawn, so that we could drive through most of the South in the dark, because my father felt that was safer.
3 or 4 times a year I would go back and forth to Georgia. But I knew I wasn't supposed to stop at night to buy any gas or do anything, not even use the bathroom.
If you had to relieve yourself, there was always some kind of can in the back of the car. And mostly for the adults, because with the children, they just open both of the car doors, and the kids stood between the car doors and used the potty.
Washcloths, some wet, wrapped up in wax paper. I don't recall that we even, in my early travels, that we didn't have any plastic bags. You know, it was wrapped up in wax paper because we'd have to use the bathroom on the side of the road.
You tried to get everything you needed when it was daylight. That included gas. If you gave them a 20 to buy gas, you didn't get any change back. And if you said anything, they might cause the law or hit you upside the head. Wasn't no change. You didn't get no change. So what you tried to do is buy what little gas with the smallest money you had.
We would look at green books and we would look at things to sort of help us figure out where we could go. But the one thing I remember more consistently was that my father believed that the only place you bought gasoline from was from Esso, which is now Exxon. He would drive around almost running out of gas, passing Shell stations until he could get to the Esso. And finally I asked him, I said, okay, help me understand this loyalty. And his argument was that in the 30s and 40s, when he was a kid going to visit his father's family, Esso was the only gas station that would allow black people the dignity of using the toilet on equal terms as white visitors. And so the notion of unpredictability of racism that it would tap you on your shoulder at moments you didn't expect, was really the key. And I think that the Green Book actually gave you that confidence that you wouldn't be tapped on the shoulder unexpectedly. And if you could live your life knowing that racism was, so that we try to get to North Carolina.
And I'm going to say, I don't know if anybody else, if you remember the Green Book, put a 1 in the chat, because most probably do not. If you remember the Green Book, put a 1 in the chat. Because as he said, SO, why, Dad, are we driving all around trying to find a SO, which is what is it? SX today. Because they were the only ones that would let you. Oh, Dr. Dady, do you actually remember Green Books? Wow, I didn't think you were old enough to remember. I really didn't. I'm not being funny. I really didn't think you were old enough to remember the Green Book. Exxon, thank you. Exxon. At the end of the day, you never knew about the 20. Man, I can remember my father, because we did do a lot of traveling, and you did, especially if you're going down in the South, you had to really be very particular. But now, let's not be deceived on this point. That racism was everywhere. It was not just in the southern states. As a matter of fact, I tell people a lot of times where I grew up and the church that I pastored, my father, my grandfather before me, in a little town right on the Kansas, Nebraska, Missouri, and Iowa line. That's the point of that church. You were taught never to look a white person in the eyes. Big Ed Smith. I'd have been dead. I'm going to just say Big Ed. I'd have been dead. You all would not have known of a spiritual thought leader, because I'd have been dead. Because I just don't know that I can look down. I don't know that I can look away. I'm going to look you dead in your eyes. And that, definitely comes in, your family is from Money, Mississippi. I hear you. I don't know. There's something in me that is so rebellious, Big Ed. I don't know, even in that, and we can say, well, I think that the time, the place, the da-da-da-da-da. I think I'm that. I would have been Kunta Kinte with the chopped off foot. I just think I would have been. I would have been the Kunta Kinte with the chopped off foot. And even then, I don't know if I ever would have said Toby. I think they would have had to kill me. That's just the kind of energy that I'm from. And it's just the blessing of God. You were told about Emmett Till and warned about looking at white people. I hear you on that. The Gift, Nathan Lamont. There's my sweetheart. Come on in here with one good squall. I appreciate you. And I don't know. Different people's DNA is different. And I do understand it. I get it 100%. I just think there's enough rebellion and retaliation in me that I'd have been like, no, ma'am, no, sir. And then let me back up, because I can definitely tell you this. Dr. Dady, your parents are older. They recall the conversations going to restaurants where black people could only use a certain pickup door. And let me tell you this, Dr. Dady, I remember in my lifetime, Memphis used to be the headquarters of the church that I hail from, Memphis, Tennessee. And I can remember on one trip as we were going, the family was going to Memphis, and I don't know what little town we were in, some little southern town. And my father parked our car next to a white person that just came unglued. And then they kept motioning for my dad not to come inside. It was a Arthur Treacher's Fish and Chips. I will never forget that. Some of y'all don't know nothing about Arthur Treacher's Fish and Chips, but it was a Arthur Treacher's Fish and Chips. And my father parked next to the car and went inside and ordered. Now, maybe it could have been that his life and our lives were in danger. We weren't from that area, and we weren't from that mindset. And I'm gonna tell you, quite frankly, Big Ed Smith, I was taught the exact opposite. And my parents and grandparents both were, when you talk to somebody, look them square dead in the eyes. And maybe that's the rebellion that we had, the rebellion that I'm from. But they will tell you, they would tell you, they're all deceased. But when you talk to somebody, I don't care who it is, black, white, otherwise, you look somebody somebody square dead in their eyes when you talk. No looking all upside the wall, no looking off to it. And you know, I'm just in hindsight now, I guess I didn't really realize what it was that they were teaching me and teaching my siblings because it was very, very important to them. You don't look all upside the wall. You don't look down at the floor. When you talk to somebody, you look them dead in the eye. When you go in the interview for a job, you look them dead in the eye. And looking a person in the eye when we talk was grilled and drilled. And, you know, I guess it's just now at the age of 60 dawning on me from the conversation here that I'm assuming that was their level of retaliation. But I was definitely taught all my life when you talk to someone. And it actually bothers me sometimes when I'm talking to people and they looking everywhere but at me. I'm like, baby, look me in the eye. You looking all upside the wall and look here, there, and everywhere. Look me in the eye. So, you know, I guess without even knowing that they were really indoctrinating me in their own method of retaliation, I just think I would have been dead because I'm going to look you square dead in your eye. I don't care who you are. And I don't care what your position and station in life. People, as my cousin said, you put your drawers on the same way that I do, one leg at a time. So we just were definitely indoctrinated with that kind of energy in my household. But I really understand. I'm not saying that as a throw off. I am not saying that as a throw off because, again, we were not raised in an area. Let me go back to White Cloud. Back in the 80s, some of you may remember where they uncovered an arsenal of artillery in a skinhead camp where they were trained in paramilitary. And I mean, they were stockpiled like a whole military defense. That was right across 4 miles away. Was a skinhead camp, and it was a sundown town, and we knew that you could not be in that town after dark. But at the end of the day, I tell you what, Dr. Dady, I know that's why white people have an issue with me. I've never subscribed to that. And people can say you're arrogant, you're prideful, you're uppity. Know your place. My place is right where I am. So I guess I want to appreciate you for that, Dr. Dady, and I want to appreciate my parents for teaching me and my grandparents for really stressing something otherwise, because I'm going to look you dead in your eyes. I'm going to look you dead in your eyes. And if I have to, go ahead and let me wake up dead. But what I'm not going to do is reduce myself. And that's just the kind of energy that I have. And again, that not with any casting off towards anybody. I lived a different experience, and so it is what it is. But that right there, I just look at that and I'm like, yes, we had to endure that. My dad went in and ordered, and when I tell you those people were just going crazy, like, how dare he? And my dad went in and ordered. We stayed in the car. We sat in the car while he ordered the food. We got our food. We got back on the road and rolled on down the highway. But yeah, I can remember that in my lifetime. And it was very overt, and it was very apparent that we had crossed over into a very racist area, because that negative energy was so dominant and prominent. Just from parking next to a car and my father going in Arthur Treacher's Fish and Chips to buy us some food as we travel. I'm telling you. So with that, Big Ed, DJ Big Ed Smith, I guess I don't really know what it's like had I lived that on a daily. I suspect I would have been dead. I suspect I would have been dead and sleeping in my grave. Now, this right here, I'm going to share, and we're just coming on down. I'm touching on different areas of experiences and knowledge. You know, I'm always saying I like to, as much as I can, drop some nuggets of knowledge, if at all possible, things that you may not have known about. This brother right here is shedding some knowledge and information about a sugar plantation that they converted it to a work camp. I'm gonna just let him just listen, and this is what we've come through, and this is what we've survived.
Town in Texas called Sugar Land. There was some land that was owned by the Fort Bend, Texas School District. Before it was owned by the school district, it was a Texas Central State Prison. But before it was that, it was called Imperial Farm, work farm for convict laborers. But before it was that, it was a sugar plantation. All of the labor was provided by slave labor. Sugarcane harvesting and milling is backbreaking and dangerous work. But after the Civil War, the slaves were freed. The Southern elites needed a way to get free labor, and they invented a system called convict leasing. It was a system where the state would arrest somebody, usually a black man. Instead of housing them at the penitentiary, they'd send them to these prison farms. People did not last very long. Many of them died within days, weeks, or months of actually arriving there. So fast forward into the mid-2000s, and they were breaking ground for this new school building in Sugar Land, and lo and behold, one of the guys saw a bone sticking up out of the ground. They found a mass grave with 95 sets of remains, and it turned out that these people had been imprisoned at the Imperial Farm. They called it the Imperial Farm because it was owned by the Imperial Sugar Company, which is still in existence and is now $1 billion public company. And that's how I became interested and wrote the song The Ghosts of Sugar Land.
But you can't silence the ghosts of Sugar Land.
And at the end of the day, y'all, just dastardly. Is this probably Dr. Dady? I don't know. Big Ed Smith, is this the Sugar Land right outside of Houston? Dr. Dady is asking if you could clarify that for us. At the end of the day, if you understand, even when he said convict leasing, the thing is now we're not leasing anymore. We just put them in jail, and it's the same one. Thank you for that. We just put them in jail and we just own them. There's no more leasing. We just own them. We just own them, and forever shall they be in the jails. Good morning, BTD Mom. So much love to you. Come on through. That's my biggest, big, beautiful sister. Come on in here this morning. Glad to see you. And they got beautiful homes there, DJ Big Ed Smith. At the end of the day, this is when you talk about how this has all been built on the backs of Black people, I want us to understand how critically important we have been to the United States of America being the United States of America. And while we still continue to fight and we still continue to assert we have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, just like it's promised in the Constitution. We have a right to that and have not received it yet. We're going to keep screaming it. We're going to keep hollering it, because at the end of the day, it is what it is. And as he said, it's still a $1 billion corporation that is, and as much as they're selling that sweet and the sugar, understand, like he said, it was grueling, and most people didn't last beyond days to weeks, and there they were dead. And to find this mass grave and then build a school on top of it. Listen, I'm gonna give this one to myself, because I feel, could it be? Could it be? The devil. Child, that ain't nothing but that old slimy devil. And then to have the audacity to build a school on top of it, a mass grave of Black bodies that were killed in Dr. Dady, it ain't nothing but that old slimy devil. And these are the things, while you look at all those, like you said, all these big, beautiful homes, this $1 billion company, on and on and on. Michelle Brown, oh, did I miss you when you came in? Good morning to you. It's my angel, y'all. It's my angel. Quiet storm. Good morning to you, baby. Now listen, at the end of the day, as I said, you know, you got all of this money that's been generated and directly from black people having been killed and given their lives to work on this sugar plantation and convict leasing program in Sugar Land, Texas. We see you. We see you. We see you. Now, I'm coming on down because listen, there's so much I want to get through before we get to, again, Michelle Brownell has something that we're going to share on this morning and let that beautiful bean footage flow. But at the end of the day, this is going on even as we speak. And I hope y'all listen. Yeah.
Well, I'm Dr. Ahmadai Shakur. And some people are upset because there's a new daycare that only allows for white people to bring their children there. Let's get into it. Now, it says in the advertisement, join us for whites only moms and tots. Are you looking for somewhere your children can play with others that look like them? Are they tired of being a minority in their schools or daycares? Escape forced diversity and join other proud parents of European children as we create an atmosphere in which our kids can feel like they belong. And invest in your child's sense of well-being and racial identity by giving them the gift of time spent amongst their own people, because they deserve it. Now, Mayor Brad West called this vile and garbage. Well, I disagree. I absolutely disagree. I don't think it's vile or garbage. In fact, I love it. I absolutely love it. You see, because the type of parents who would send their children to something like this, well, they obviously don't like people who look like me and perhaps other people who don't look like them as well. And so with that all being said, these are the parents that tend to raise children who don't like other children who don't look like them. Like the children who, put the little boy of my skin tone in the locker at school and threw bananas at him and called him monkey. And or like the group of children who had a fake slave auction, okay, where they had children of my skin tone stripped down to their undies and then they humiliated them. Or like the group of kids who invited a child of my skin tone to the home for a sleepover and then made him drink bodily fluids, okay? So with that all being said, I absolutely love this. I think this is absolutely great. You see, if you don't want to be around people that are not like you, then you should absolutely separate yourself from them. And if you don't want your children to be around those people's children, then you should do just the same. So I have no problem with this. In fact, I appreciate it because at least they're being honest and they're letting it be known how they feel. So for people who look like me who are upset by this or offended, well, you shouldn't be. You shouldn't be, because you see, you're keeping your children safe from being bullied, picked on, called racial slurs, and all of the above. And so I have no problem with this, and I don't know why anyone should. If people want to separate, they should absolutely do so and feel free with doing that, okay? And here's the thing. Back during the civil rights movement, a lot of our people, fought so desperately to get into places and spaces where they were not welcome, where they were not wanted. Okay? Why would you do that? If someone doesn't want you in their place and space, then remove yourself. Don't go there, but don't try to force yourself into places amongst people who don't want you around. So for those of you who look like me, please don't complain about this. This is a good thing. They're letting you know that they don't want to be around you and they don't want their children around the likes of you. It's like what Biden said when he said he didn't want his children growing up in a racial jungle when they were integrating the schools. So, like I said, this is a good thing. So now you know how they really feel. With that all being said, TikTok, this is for entertainment purposes only. Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Ahmadai Shakur.
Now, at the end of the day, I want to make sure this isn't because
some people are upset because there's a new daycare.
Okay, no, I wanted to make sure that wasn't going into another one. Now, the old guard, good old boy network is dying off now. Things are changing, but changing slowly. DJ Big Ed Smith, I'm afraid that their children and their grandchildren have come with that same energy, and they're just as dastardly as their grandpappy and their grandmammy. So, and is it legal? I saw you, BTD Mom. This is what I want you all to pay attention to. Now, if you listen to people particularly from the white communities that do not want to admit that the Civil War was over slavery. What do they always say? That war was really over states' rights and the rights of the state to make their own decision. A lot of the children have different ways. It's not 100% of them, but that's why I say it's slow. I got you on that. I hear you, Big Ed. But I've also, like she said, now, do you remember, and it hasn't been too long ago, the students in college that she identified, stripped them down to their underclothes and then had a slave auction? I'm talking about just got into college, just graduated from high school and just got into college. And this is the kind of stuff they're doing. Stripping black students down to their underclothes and having a slave auction. And I say that because this is 2022 and 2023, and this is what's still going on in some of these colleges and universities and other areas. So I say that, Big Ed, because a lot of times we have this deception, I feel, and you can continue to dialogue with me because I always appreciate people having conversation with me. I feel like we, during the civil rights times, have really gone into a state of believing that things are different. We've indoctrinated our black children that things are different and it's a new day, when really I think all that happened was that a lot of the racism just went underground and they found new ways to do it, new flavors, new waves, and it's still going on. So I think the deception that I'm really, really warring against is this idea that we've made this massive move forward. When I say not only have we not moved forward, I feel in many, many ways, in many areas, we've actually gone backwards. So that's my personal opinion. Everybody doesn't have to agree with that, but that's my personal opinion. Your kids had a whole group at their school. The kids had Confederate flags on their cars and everything. They showed out during the election time at the predominantly white school. Come through, Michelle. It's not dead. It is definitely not dead. And we're seeing it come back up with a flare. Now, BTD Mom, to your point, as far as it being legal, this and I'm saying this because, listen, y'all, we let so many things slip by us and slip through the cracks while the media is telling us one thing, but the reality is something else. So y'all remember, again, they said the Confederates were saying the reason why they were fighting the Civil War was not about slavery. It was about states' rights. Well, at the end of the day, let me tell you, if we haven't seen anything else, and they did it quietly and they did it covertly, but if we haven't seen anything, what we have seen is a gradual conversion to states' rights, where the states' rights take precedence over the federal government. So we've got federal laws on the books that mean nothing. We've got federal laws on the books that nobody pays attention to. We've got states that have made their own laws and legislation that are indirect, they're contrary to the federal laws, and they are challenging states' rights all day long. So at the end of the day, they just came back and came another way, and that's why we see this Jim Crow that is really working its way back to the surface, because they have achieved it through states' rights. They've achieved it through the federal judges, the state. They have really gone to the sundown law still exists all over the USA and will not be removed from the books. Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? Absolutely, Big Ed. So this is why I think we've got to really, really be completely aware and alert to the fact that we just didn't try to come out so overtly. Now, I do feel that 45 really pushed the needle and emboldened people to really act up and cut up. But at the end of the day, it's not, actually, I'm going to say, I think one of the first presidents to really, really show his tail is really Ronald Reagan. And he started the mess. And somehow or another, it got past us, if you will. Somehow or another, we got caught in it. Somehow or another, we let it get away from us. But at the end of the day, it didn't just start I feel like Ronald Reagan, and I do have a clip in here. I don't know if I'm gonna get to it because I definitely want to get into the topic of colorism. I can always hold it till tomorrow. But at the end of the day, yeah. So I'm like, y'all been working on this the whole time, gradually, slowly but surely. And the very thing that you claim you had the Civil War over, you are now doing that in the system through states' rights, and states' rights being greater than the rights of federal government law. And at the end of the day, it's a whole lot of people that are complicit to that. But I really, in my estimation, feel that this trend back towards this. Jacqueline Ross Miller, good morning to you. And thank you so much for following. Welcome to the Lion's Den, and we're so glad to have you. Now, I feel like a lot of this actually started back with Ronald Reagan and his trickle down economics, and we'll deal with that a little bit later on if we have time. If not, we'll bring it up tomorrow and finish the convo. Now, but when you talk about how this has been possible, I'm just gonna let this beautiful bean footage play, because at the end of the day, Lord Jesus, help us, please, please, God, please, 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 please. Okay, Joe, here we go.
I'm Dr. Ahmad Shakur. So Biden recently stirred controversy when he called LL Cool J a boy. Let's get into it. On Saturday, when they were acknowledging LL Cool J and MC Lyte for their musical contributions, Biden stumbled over LL's name. He then proceeded to call him a boy. Now, of course, he quickly corrected himself because he knew he was wrong. Some people have come out and tried to explain it away and make excuses and defend him, saying that because he's an older man, that often older men refer to younger men as boys. Well, that may or may not be true, but at the end of the day, we all know that for a white man to call a man of my skin tone a boy, that is absolutely used in a racial context. And we can't just say this was a gaffe, because Biden has said numerous racial things in the past, and we all should know that by now. But just in case you don't, I'm going to go through some of them. Please pay attention.
In America, LL Cool J. By the way, that man's got biceps bigger than my thighs. I think he's...
And let's not forget how back in 1977, Biden said, and I quote, integrating students of my skin tone would turn schools into a jungle, a racial jungle. He next said that I don't want my children to grow up in a racial jungle. Okay, that's what he said. So clearly racist.
It doesn't matter whether or not they're the victims of society. The end result is they're about to knock my mother on the head with a lead pipe, shoot my sister, beat up my wife, take on my sons. To take them out of society. Away from my mother, your husband, our families. Lock the SOBs up.
Lock the SOBs up, he says. Now, mind you, when he authored the 94 crime bill, at the same time his own son Hunter was engaging in the use of the same illegal substances that he talked about when he authored that crime bill, with sentence disparages, pay attention, but also the fact that his own son never received not one single day in jail for his use or purchase of that illegal substance, while other people languished, for decades in some cases. So with that all being said, clearly racist.
1,000 of them who are the predators. 100,000 of the kids you read about on the front page of the newspaper every day. Unless we do something about that cadre of young people, tens of thousands of them, born out of wedlock, without parents, without supervision, without any structure, without any conscience developing reports.
See, it's the way he singles out people of my skin tone for me. Predators, born out of wedlock, having no conscience, no parents. There's people of all races and ethnic groups that have these same things going on, but he wants to single it out to us. Let's also not forget the time that he referred to children of my skin tone as roaches. Okay, but let's continue.
Now, at this midnight basketball and get them together a bunch of jive folks who live in their city to do, try to see if they can beat Michael Jordan. When they found out they were keeping schools open, robbing the local store, they're in a gymnasium. My daughter will be safer, my wife will be safer, my mother will be safer, and I will be safer. And
I stopped it right there because I want to go to this point where they always. And listen, I'm gonna come on screen for this right here. They always want to go about white women. They always want to go. Did you hear what he said? Our daughters will be safer. Our wives will be safer. Our mothers will be safer. What it is about this racist society that always wants to imply that black men especially, but black people, black men especially, want your daughters, your wives, and your mothers. This is just unbelievable. And the fear mongering and the hate mongering, it always wants to bring in the white woman. So now, if you didn't catch that, that's why I stopped right there. Our daughters will be safer. Our wives will be safer. Our mothers will be safer. And then we as a people will be safer. You know, I want you all to pay attention to this stuff. I want you all to be clear on this rhetoric because it has not changed. It's the same rhetoric that they've been using down through the years. And it's the same rhetoric that they'll continue to use because it always works. And that's why white woman fragility and white woman tears have been so powerful. And the white woman has known they can use it because for whatever reason, these racist white men are deceived into thinking that all these black brothers want they white wives, they white daughters, and they white mothers. Don't nobody want that. And at the end of the day, and I'm talking about racist folk, you understand what I'm saying? This fear that you want to keep on dredging up, that this is what all black men want is the white woman. You know, and again, for those that really don't care about ethnicity and they just love for love, I have no problem with miscegenation. I have no problem with interracial marriage. I don't think there's an issue there. But I'm talking about the way it is weaponized. That's what I'm dealing with. Not your average guy. Come on in here. So much mad love to you. Good morning. I'm talking about the way that Z-Lady C, there's my girl. Come on in and you had to come out and lurk. Lord have mercy. It looks like you won't be lurking today. I love me some of you. Come on in. They stay scared of us. But why, Z-Lady C? But why? Is the question. Why are you afraid? And why do you just have to keep pushing this narrative? I'm going to go back to what Big Ed Smith said earlier out of Money, Mississippi. He was told about Emmett Till. And what did Emmett Till do? He looked that white woman in her eyes. And then the next thing you know, he cat whistled. He oogled and Googled and pawed her and tried to listen. I'm tired. Truth is, I'm tired. So this is the energy that we have to always contend with this idea. And it goes all the way back to slavery, y'all. It goes all the way back to slavery when you had slave masters that felt like they had to protect their white wives and the white women from the men out there in the field. So Mrs. Miller, good morning to you. Welcome to the Lion's Den, and I'm so glad that you're here. So you hear, and this is Joe Biden, and for anybody who wants to say he changed because politics demanded it. And then the question is, did he change? Because listen, can I say this? And listen, I'm going to say this. I'm going to drop this bomb and I'm going to walk away and finish the rest of this daggum video. But at the end of the day, we had all this uproar about Hunter Biden being caught flinging the N-word. Do y'all remember that? If you remember that, put a 1 in the chat. If you remember when there was a big stir because Hunter got caught saying, and they captured it on video of Hunter Biden using the N-word. And I said, why are you surprised that Hunter's using the N-word? He heard that in his house. I said what I said, and I'll add to it before I take it back. Why are we so shocked about Hunter Biden saying the N-word when I'm very sure he probably heard that in his house. Listen, the president done publicly called folks boy. He done publicly talked about black folks being roaches. He has played into this stereotype that we are single parent households without he has got every racist trope that this man could utter, he has done, but y'all want to believe that he's converted. And this was just on Saturday, Saints, when he called LL Cool J a boy. But go ahead and deceive yourselves. Go ahead and deceive yourselves if you need to feel better about him. Because at the end of the day, he does definitely beat 45, I guess, in qualities. And he has done, I guess, what he can do in the government. But again, at the end of the day, don't y'all fool yourselves. This man said what he said. Ain't nobody lying on this man. This is the real deal. This is the real Joe. And y'all quit playing. Y'all see, when somebody shows you who they are, believe them. Here we go.
I will be happy. We have this notion that somehow if you're poor, you cannot do it. Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids. Wealthy kids.
So there are no poor white kids or white people? Please make that make sense. That's what he was implying. Okay, poor kids can be just as smart, just as talented as white kids, wealthy kids. So only white people are wealthy? Well, that's what he seems to think. But let's continue.
I appoint all those federal judges, but thank you for serving. I'm not kidding. You want to come and make a speech? Hush up, boy.
Everyone to just explain it away and say that it was just a gaffe or he was just saying that because he's older than LL Cool J.
Did y'all hear that? Hush up, boy. And did you hear the way he said it? Hush up, boy. You know a good racist when they can get 2 syllables out of the word boy. And here we go.
Or whatever. What was his excuse then? He blatantly told a grown man to shut up or to hush up, boy. So yes, Biden absolutely has said a myriad of racist things. There's no way to explain this away. There is no justification. You cannot excuse this. This is his behavior because this is absolutely who Joe Biden is and who he's always been. And let's not forget that when
the whole emphasis on boy, the whole emphasis, hush up, boy. Y'all can play all you want to. You can lie to yourselves if you want to. This man is showing blatant racism. And at the end of the day, quit lying. Here we go.
Barack was running for office, running for president, he said something about how Barack was clean, he was intellectual, and he was so well kept and all of these things. Basically, he was saying that this is, like one of a kind. Like this is a rare occurrence. Like there's no other man of my skin tone who could fit that bill. Okay? So yeah, that's his mindset. That wasn't a mistake. He said what he said because he's been saying it historically throughout his career. With that all being said, TikTok, this is for entertainment purposes.
And I just want y'all to see that because at the end of the day, this conversation continues to be had. And I'm just tickled when I hear black people that try to defend that this man has changed. This man is converted. And at the end of the day, he's getting older and he can't hide it no more, Big Ed Smith. He can't hide it like he used to be able to hide it. It just keeps slipping and seeping through the cracks. So at the end of the day, I'm here to tell you, don't y'all buy what these folks are selling because at the end of the day, this is some ignorance. Now, since I did it on the Democratic side, he didn't even hide it. Not your average guy. He didn't even hide it back then. He was just open and overt with it. But he had to tone it down because now I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna say it with my whole chest. He needed the black vote. He needs the black vote. So he needs y'all to believe that he's converted. And that's all I'm gonna say about that. So here we go. At the end of the day, this one right here, because listen, this just happened. Listen, so Biden was banking on GQ Public voting against Trump to get in that position, but he also used Obama and not caramel. Woo! Listen, BTD Mom, you said a whole mouthful there, and I'm tickled. I'm just absolutely tickled. Now, this right here, because this just happened whilst we slumbered, slept, and slobbered. 45, who is under indictment, went out and bought a gun. Now, check this out. These folk are just stupid. Here we go.
So this just keeps getting better. So earlier today, Marjorie Taylor Greene was standing around with the guy she's fornicating with, who's on RSBN or Newsmax or one of those. Brian Glenn is his name. And they're bragging about how Donald Trump bought a gun today. Marjorie's like, yeah, I was with Donald Trump today. He went gun shopping. He found a nice gun with his beautiful face on it. And then Brian Glenn goes, yes, I was there. And I can confirm for you that he did buy a gun. Listen to the video closely.
President Trump found a gun he liked. It was a Glock, and it had a beautiful picture of him on the side of the Glock, and he said, I'd like to buy this gun.
I heard him say that, and I was behind him when he said it, and I said, well, I think he said he wants to buy that gun, so we can confirm that President Trump
I got a picture for you.
You got that gun today.
Look, let me show you. It's
It was-
great.
And he said, I'd like to buy this gun. I heard him say that. I was standing right behind him. You guys heard that, right? He literally said, we can confirm that President Trump got that gun today. Brian Glenn said that. Marjorie Taylor Greene even tweeted this picture today. She said, yeah, President Trump doing a little bit of shopping. He's going to protect our Second Amendment rights. Well, Brian Glenn, who just said, I can confirm for you that he bought that gun. He tweeted this later on after everyone said, hey, Donald Trump is under indictment. He can't buy a gun. He tweeted this. Get off Donald Trump's back. He didn't buy that gun. I was there. Yeah, we know. You said on video you were there and you can confirm that he bought the gun. And now you're tweeting that you can confirm that he did not buy the gun. So at the least, these people think you're stupid and they're lying to you, but at worst, Donald Trump bought that gun and now they're trying to cover it up. And believe me, there were a lot of cameras there. There will be receipts. We are going to find out if they're just liars or he's a felon and they're liars. Period. Okay.
Now, Saints, you just can't get more stupid than that, Z Lady C. You can't. Marjorie Taylor Greene, the woman, if I only had a brain. So at the end of the day, you come out with this man is under indictment. And none of your legal team told you not to get on camera buying a gun when you, no. Oh my God. And then you want to come back later on and say, no, he didn't buy that gun. I was there. When you just said a few minutes ago, he did buy the gun. I was there. I'm telling you, you just can't make this stuff up. I'm trying to tell you. So at the end of the day, y'all, I just don't know what to say. I just don't know what to say. Now, I'm going to come here because I want to play this. I got some more for today, but I'm going to hold on to it. And we'll start with it tomorrow because I'm going to come here and we want to talk about Michelle Brownell gave me something. It's a media circus. Michelle Brownell brought something that I really do want to play because I feel some kind of way when we in the black community, and I'm talking to the black community specifically, when we get caught up in the insanity of prejudice and colorism in the black community, these are some things that we need to talk about. So Michelle put this in, and I'm hopeful if you are in my YouTube, I'm hopeful that this is going to fly and we're going to be able to flow with this. I was trying to find copyright content and whatever. I was unable to do that. However, this is for educational purposes only. And so I can claim fair use. We're going to see if we can roll it. And hopefully you all will be able to see this in its entirety. It is a long video that will take take up the rest of the stream. But I do want to show it because this is a conversation I want us to have, even if we have to come back tomorrow and pick up the rest of it here. This revolves around Love and Hip Hop, where one of the characters called another character, all black women, a monkey, and proceeded to go and make gestures as a monkey and noises as a monkey. And we need to address colorism and how we deal with it in the black community. I want you all to hold your weave, hold your wig, and let's go ahead and get into this topic right here.
Hey y'all, it's Rashida here, and thank you for tuning into the season finale of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. This season has been one of the wildest ones yet, even for me, child. We appreciate you, the audience, for always sticking beside us through the good, the bad, the ugly, and of course, the messy. You saw and heard all of it, even Minna's use of a racial slur. For her to blurt that out to Spice like she did, it was hurtful. We all know right from right and wrong from wrong. And for a person to say those things repeatedly and then turn around and act as though it wasn't anything is what really bothered me the most. We've been fighting for so many years, you guys, just to be treated as equal. And at this point, I think it's a great time to have a great conversation. As a leading platform in popular culture, we have a responsibility to you, our audience. What you're about to watch is a roundtable anchored by Dr. Sarah Webb, founder and owner of Colorism Healing, alongside a few of my cast members. Unfortunately, I couldn't be present for this important roundtable, but I'm extremely happy that we're making this happen. So please take a moment to watch, listen, and hopefully learn what has been an important moment for Love and Hip Hop Atlanta.
Welcome everyone. We are here with some of the cast of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta for a candid conversation about the controversial events leading up to the season 11 finale. I am Dr. Sarah L. Webb, the founder of Colorism Healing, which is a global initiative designed to raise awareness, shift attitudes, and take action to dismantle colorism around the globe. The use of racial slurs against a cast member on season 11 has sparked debate and controversy across the internet. MTV thought it was important for some of the cast to continue their conversation as well. We have Yandy, Spice, Jock, Scrappy, Amy, and Sierra. Hey. First, I want to talk about bias and prejudice. This is what people most often talk about in these kind of conversations. So anyone can have a bias or a prejudice, where it's the belief that a group of people is inherently better or inferior than another group, right? Solely based on their race or gender or ethnicity, right? But when we're talking about racism and colorism, we're talking about social systems that go far beyond an individual person's attitudes or opinions. And racism and colorism are about power. So when we have something like colonialism, Europeans, white people, white identified people wanted to hoard economic power, political power, and social power, right? And so racism is about the system that pushes white people to the top of that power hierarchy. Colorism is a system in which even amongst us as people of color, those with the lightest skin tones get more preferential treatment and are propped up in society above those with darker skin tones, all right? And let's talk about Atlanta, the setting of all of this. Atlanta is the mecca of Black culture. Atlanta has a long history, generations of civil rights movements, of protests, right, of sit-ins. And so I'm wondering if you think that the location of where this conversation is happening makes it that much more pertinent. In Atlanta, for example, over the past recent years, we've had the deaths of people like Ahmaud Arbery, Rayshard Brooks. And so your thoughts being local to this city, how does this setting of Atlanta really make this conversation that much more significant?
It's a Black city, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, as long as I done been living, you know, I done always been through some kind of racism.
So, like, the Confederate flag is still a thing in Atlanta, and it's something that bothers me so bad. Like, it irks my nerve.
I think I was like first grade, and my grandma taught at school. She taught this school, Rockbridge Elementary.
Oh,
now, this was predominantly white. I ain't never seen all these white people before.
Yeah.
It's a total
No,
change.
I went to school in Conyers, Georgia. My bus driver was, and Conyers is mostly white. My bus driver would leave me almost every morning.
What?
Just leave me.
What do you mean?
Like,
You reach late, Sierra.
No, listen, my house was right in front of the school bus. The bus would come, they would open the door, the little white kids would get on the bus, and I'd come out of my house, you know, walking out. Maybe I was walking, but she seen me, and she would just pull off. They was with me.
They were.
They were, right?
So what you're talking about is what people call microaggressions.
Yes.
You're not using the N-word against me. You know, you're not calling me names. Not explicitly.
Thank you.
But your
doing things. Your actions are trying to put me in a degrading position
They
to
would,
say
because she
you are
would
not.
let all she was like, come on. The white kids would just jump on the bus, and I would come out there with my little book bag, and honey, she would just pull off and slam it. I'm like, dang.
She like, yo, that little black girl. Let go.
And those are different things that I remember, like growing up in Atlanta.
I think moving here, because I'm from Harlem, another mecca of Black culture and creativity, I came with you know what? I think I want to open up a restaurant. I want to open up a skincare store. I was able to own these different properties, but once it comes down to permitting, I have someone that is white that works on my team. Sending her in to get things done,
It's better, easier.
so much quicker than me doing it. Although this is the mecca of, you know, Black opportunities, resources. So I think racism is everywhere. I think the structural power is all over the United States. I mean, I'm saying the United States because that's where I'm from, but I think it's embedded in systems no matter how much the state or the city appreciates what Black people brings, how much they idolize what we bring, how much they love our culture. I don't think it's any different.
The Black we actually support. We spend the money. It's like, okay, I'm gonna let y'all spend the money, but I'm not gonna give y'all that real respect. I walk into the bank and I'm not respected at all. Until they log into my account. But I see, you know, other race stand next to me and they greet it, how are you doing? And it's just, they look at it, I don't get that respect.
So you always say that even when Black people advance economically, we don't escape racism.
We don't escape it.
And then you think about histories of like the Tulsa massacre, right? The race riots in Springfield, Illinois. Sometimes you become more of a target the more success you have as a Black person.
That's 24/7.
Anyway, when I was selling one of my properties, my agent was like, you should kind of take some of this art down. You don't really want them to know the race of the house owner. Maybe you should change these pillows and these. And I was just sitting there thinking, it didn't make sense. You know, I actually had a white person come in to set it up like it was hers. I felt like I saw a almost overnight thing. It was my first time being like, dang, it's everywhere.
I call it small city, big money. Ran by the whites.
I didn't get a chance to graduate high school, and I had a Caucasian lady tell me I was gonna be on welfare for the rest of my life. And I looked at her like, who are you? Like, you're not God. But we need conversations like this to shake up the community, to let them know, like, they can do it. That's why it's so important for me to use my voice. I feel like God put me on television not to be cute, well, to look cute and with my hair and stuff, but to actually open my mouth and say what needs to be said to the little girls that's looking up to me.
And what about colorism? Have any of you seen it or experienced it?
Well, I actually did a project on colorism in 2018 where I had to use makeup to make it seem like I had bleached my skin to appear lighter. And so I went on a protest and I did a whole light face. I think everybody at the table had a glimpse of it. And it was just my way of protesting to say, do I have to look like this to be more appreciated? When I did a song called Black Hypocrisy, because I feel like there's a lot of hypocrisy within our Black community when it comes on to colorism as well. But as a darker skinned Black woman, I sadly have experienced racism and colorism majority of my life.
I experienced it.
Yeah,
man. Remember when I pressed my hair?
Oh yes, that's a part of colorism.
Chris Brown did it.
Yeah.
He didn't catch the flag. Miguel did it.
Oh, they lighter than you.
Lighter than when I did it.
It's cool when they do it, but it's a problem when we do it.
That's real.
But what it was, they felt like the lighter complexion hair.
And then there's the singers, and that look like I'm trying to look more like them. And it's easily accepted because of their complexion already.
Yeah, exactly.
But you know what? I always thought that like men didn't get it as bad as women because I got it, and I feel like I'm in the middle. You know, women love a chocolate man. You know, I didn't know, so.
But I mean, yeah, when it comes to relationships, probably. But what I've noticed with browner skin men, they are more likely to get pulled over by the cops.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. They are more likely to be found guilty before they're even trying to be proven guilty
by complexion.
Guilty by complexion. I think
complexion.
when it comes to society forms, like it's very hard for black men. I think even sometimes darker skinned, even sometimes harder than it is for us. When it comes to society, getting a job, walking in to a restaurant, walking into a store, walking into a bank.
Trying to get a house.
Trying to get a house.
Yeah. We want to zoom in a little bit to the incident that, incited this roundtable where Erica Mena used a racial slur against Spice.
Oh my God, I wouldn't know what would happen to me if something happens to Spice. And I said, well, damn, I was your wife pregnant. Almost lost my life and our baby. In a really dark time. I was in the hospital, which the whole world saw.
But why did you feel the need to compare us, though? Because at the time,
Anyone
you
would
wouldn't have. And why? Why would you compare?
You're saying that he felt that way. I
Why?
was his wife, and he felt nothing.
That don't have nothing to do with me if he felt nothing for you. So it's just confusing.
So you're telling
why?
me if you were in my shoes, you're telling me you wouldn't feel no type of way as a woman?
What do you mean if I was in your shoes? In what way? What do you mean? Because if your problem is, Erica, you feel like you're the first woman to be divorced. That's the problem.
Really?
I feel like you're acting like you're the first woman to be divorced, and you're the first woman that's left with 2 children to fend for. I've been doing it for 14 years. Welcome to the club.
Girl, I've been doing it for
nowhere.
16.
Okay?
16.
Okay, with your
16
son that
as a
don't like
teenager.
you. My son loves me.
How do you know about that?
How do you know about you? That's what I'm talking about. You said it. That's what you said. You started the conversation and said, look.
You don't know about my son, bitch. No. You clown, bitch. That bitch should have died. You want to mention that kid? You should have died, bitch. You monkey. You little monkey. That's all feeding your karma, bitch. You should have died, hoe.
Serve your rights as far as your karma, bitch. I know you tomorrow until you say them like I like hot girls. You piece of trash. Yo, I hate everybody that is let me out. Man, I don't believe it.
That was terrible.
It makes
my blood boil.
It gives me the chills every time I watch it.
It makes my head hurt and my blood boil. Like the audacity to be so immersed in our culture, love our men, love the black children, proud of it, but can sit there and call a black person, not just a black woman, a monkey, make monkey gestures, make monkey sounds.
That's exactly what I want to talk about is the history of that word, why it's so painful, why it's so hurtful. And I also want to give Spice a chance to react to that because I saw that you were very emotional just having to replay that.
I done read in books, you know what I'm saying? I done seen it where they done put like real, like a human being, a black human being in a zoo and chained them up and treat them just like a monkey. And dressed them up and everything, had people come pay to just look at them. When something like that is said and like the way she said it, that's all I can think about.
I wanted to calm down first to kind of get over the situation. But I also want to take this opportunity to just educate because I feel like a lot of our black people, they do not know the depth.
Yes. Yes. And so even sometimes when I see the comments, I know that it's coming from an ignorant place, and I know that it's coming from a place where they themselves do not understand that our ancestors died, fought for our freedom, for our rights, to even be here, to have a voice. When I heard what happened from Rashida, I was taken aback at first when Rashida said, you know, her child was mentioned, so she reacted, and I was like, you know, I had to be real. I'm a flawed human being, and I remember when my child was mentioned on a reunion show, I got up and I was ready to fight. Then my next reaction was, but why you into a racial slur? And then I started to think, like, Dag, is she a racist? Like, what's that about? And I'm like, I gotta talk to her. I don't think she's a racist. Like, I've spoken to her. So my first reaction was, nah, she's not a racist. She doesn't know what that term means. She's not educated about the violence that has for our community. I know that she doesn't know what this means for our history and our people.
I want to be in a space where Yandy is and say she don't know that, but I'm not going. Because I know she's culturally aware. Too immersed in our culture to not know. Because if you tell me you don't know, I'm gonna look at you sideways because you know too much more about too much other stuff. Can't have what my father would say, convenient amnesia. You use it convenient, oh, I didn't know. No, you knew.
You know.
And when I know that you know, it's a slap in the face to pretend as if you don't.
I ain't never had seen it. Like, I ain't never had
I
seen
didn't either, because
I did my little
different places.
So when I seen the little thing saying, oh, they done fired and stuff like that.
Because your first live was I was like,
we all were. I said,
but then you came back after he did his research and educated on
We actually have clips of your live stream.
I feel about Erica getting fired. I don't know if that's real. I mean, I think that's pretty bozo for them to fire somebody. I don't even with Erica at all. Like, shit at all. They can fire me. They know that. I was drunk.
Yeah, I was drunk. You said I was drunk. When you said that, I said, this
I did not mean the words that I did not know the gravity of the words.
coming out of my mouth.
Damn. Okay, let's watch the other one. He went to a whole nother location though. Changed his t-shirt. Started drinking some water.
Music ain't behind me.
Erica Miller was wrong. Miller was wrong.
He said Erica Miller was wrong.
Whatever, you know what I'm saying? The colorism is real. Yeah. You do know that. Racism is real. We do know that. See, what had happened was I ain't had seen it. So I'm like,
I've never seen it.
So I'm looking at it like they two women, they probably just was, you know what I'm saying? They just was like that. But then when I seen it, I was like, wow, nah, like the way she said it, it was like real, like
intentional in delivery.
It came from the gut.
It came from the gut, like
It came from the core.
I'm talking about like.
That's what made me change when I seen it. I'm like, ooh, I was like, and I was like, yeah, because I've been really quiet. Not really. I told her how I felt about it. I told her I was like, you wrong.
The term monkey was systematically used to dehumanize the whole black race. It was shocking coming from someone that I know, but I have received racism almost all my life. So being in a racism situation is not new to me. However, since I'm the one in the hot seat and the whole situation stirred from me and her having a discussion, I vividly want to point out and make sure that everyone is aware that I did not come for her child. A lot of people are saying, you brought up the child or whatever it is. She brought up her own son. And so when she brought up her son, I replied and said, to the son that doesn't like you, because I wanted to be clear. Some people were saying they feel like I should be fired too for coming for Erica's parents in. On Love and Hip Hop show itself and its franchise, there's so many different occasions where people came for people's parenting.
As we all do,
And you feel
right?
like you
As it has always done. Yeah, I came for her parenting
too.
When you're a wife, why they care about for you?
I wrote.
So is that why you don't want to pay child support?
Oh my God. Hey, what about your son?
That's the
What about your
truth.
son?
What about my son? What about my son? You're acting like you know something.
I know something about your son.
Crap, you watch this. You watch this.
A lot of
black people came for her parenting on Love and Hip Hop. Let's be very clear now. She chose to call me a monkey, and not Scrappy, who asked her, where's your son? When she decided, oh, Scrappy is a deadbeat. Scrappy was like, listen, let me worry about mine. Where's your son? Scrappy did not become a monkey.
Yeah.
My whole takeaway is tying back to the color of my skin makes me seem like, oh, the aggressor or whatever. Because I'm of a darker skin tone, they painted me now to be the angry black woman. I can take full accountability for coming for her parenting. Her reply could have been a million other words that's in her vocabulary. Why a racial slur? She decided to go the racism route. When I received that racism from someone that I know, it was a shocker. So for someone to say it to your face, you're like, oh my God, this is who she are. I feel like I left that situation the winner because I revealed a racist. And I don't care what nobody else want to say, a racist was revealed. So 400 years ago, our slave masters would call us monkeys to categorize us, to dehumanize us. So it was a tactic to justify racism. So it was a tactic used to justify racism to make us seem as we're primates.
Yeah.
And so this is a deeply rooted slur that has nothing to do with me. It goes way, the history, the burden, the blood, the slashes,
Good girl.
the tears and the fights and everything is attached to this word.
I went to Ghana and I went to the slave dungeons. When I say the realization of how they thought we did not matter, we were less than humans. We were people that needed to be in captivity, that needed to be chained by our ankles, chained by our hands. And even being, when I stood in that slave dungeon, when you walk from the outside of the dungeon to the inside of the dungeon, you can feel like the stickiness of the bottom of the floor. And I remember asking, why does the floor feel like this? It felt waxy and sticky. And they said, that is the remains of your ancestors that did not make it.
Yes.
It wasn't about looking and dehumanizing to make you feel like, and in that moment, you were less than the animal. We don't even treat dogs like that.
Yes.
When they fed us in the slave dungeons, they would throw pieces of bread and meat through a little hole, and literally only the survival, the stronger ones could get to the food. So you had to literally step on people. Like the crab in the barrel. That's where there's so much about this society. There's so much about the way we are tied into who we are that started 400 years ago. Like we had to climb on top of each other's back to get the food that they dropped down at the slave dungeons. So the weak ones, they didn't eat. The weak ones died, and then guess what? We're stepping on them. We're stepping on them.
I went to one in Caliber.
I want to read a quote by Thomas Jefferson. So the person on your currency said this: the first difference which strikes us is that of color. Okay, so notice how he nitpicks the features, right? And is this difference of no importance? Is it not the foundation of a greater or less share of beauty in the two races? Add to these flowing hair, a more elegant symmetry of form, their own judgment in favor of the whites declared by their preference of them, as uniformly as the preference for the orangutan for the black woman over those of his own species. The circumstances of superior beauty is thought worthy attention in the propagation of our horses, dogs, and other domestic animals. Why not in that of man? Besides those of color, figure, and hair, there are other physical distinctions proving a difference of race. Okay, and so this is what one of the founding fathers of this country, this is the ideology, the narrative, right, that we now know are lies, but that was belief taken as fact. That is what this country was founded on, right? And so when we talk about why these words matter, and when we talk about racism versus colorism, we see that those things are intimately intertwined.
Yep.
Where I call racism and colorism like fire and smoke. Where there's one, you're going to see the other. They're not the same thing, but they always like to tag team, right? So here he's talking about how do we know that there's a difference in race? Well, let's start by looking at color, right? Let's start by looking at the hair.
Me, I'm black.
But I have nieces and nephews who are half Puerto Rican and half black. And the black women come up and say, is this your nephew? Is this your niece? They're so pretty. And they only say it to my half Puerto Rican nieces. It just made my blood boil so bad because from an aunt perspective, I looked at my nieces, the full black ones that look like me, and they were just standing there because she's used to her little sister getting the praise. And I told the black lady, I said, you don't see all my black nieces here? They're all beautiful. She's like, yes, they are. And I'm looking at her like, what is wrong? How can we fix this?
Yeah.
This was a black woman, though. It's so deep to the self-hatred that they instilled in us, to feeling like lighter is brighter. It's better. Yeah.
So do you all think that what happened with Erica Mena was an instance of racism or colorism or both? What are your thoughts?
Both.
I think she has been told, I don't know her personally, but I know from experience that I think that she has been told her entire life that you look better than black women feature-wise. Your hair is better, your skin is better.
It's a thing.
When you're allowed into a culture, you're allowed to live amongst the culture,
say the same
breathe it.
And camouflage in.
Right. But listen, but somewhere in there, when you start feeling
superior,
that you're not necessarily superior.
Especially come around
It's more like,
no, it is worse.
it's because when you said camouflage, it's kind of like you camouflage in. I'm like you, almost like, you know.
Right. Yeah.
I'm a minority too. And she
That's what she said.
Right?
Yeah.
On the colorism side, or the concept of what people may feel preference may be, when it comes to black men, a lot of cats is always using that term. I want something foreign. I want this and that, a Spanish chick.
Red, I want something red.
It will make somebody feel like they are better because your man is sitting here it's in the song. Listen to the music, listen to the songs. So somewhere in there, you gotta, when you use the term systemic, it's not always just coming from an outside source that's adding to the whole systemic breakdown.
But this is the thing. Nowhere in our culture, if I sit at a table with you, if I sit at a culture and I'm across from people of Hispanic background, we might say to each other, "Shot, please," like, and it's accepted amongst us. Even if you're immersed in black culture, that is accepted to a certain extent. Yes. We ain't never ever be like, monkey, please. We don't do that. That is not something that is accepted in our culture. Whether you
so it's not as bad.
The reason it doesn't have the same implications if I say because we've gotten to a place.
And it doesn't have the same implications.
We've gotten to a place.
I don't give a damn what.
So what Yandy is trying to say is that regardless of whether you think the N-word is bad or not, it is accepted as a part of black culture.
Yeah.
Monkey has never
been.
Accepted.
We never found out.
So let me finish the point. So what you were saying about, non-black people who are a part of the culture, who are accepted into the culture, they can't claim that for why they use the term.
No, because we don't play like that.
It shouldn't be allowed in no kind of way.
But there are blurred lines.
No kind of, it ain't to me.
It is.
But you gotta think though. In the past it wasn't. You go back, it wasn't blurred. It was this what it is, you who you is, and I'm who I am, and you keep that some kind of way. They blurred it.
I'm not gonna lie. I didn't know it was blurred until I went to New York. When I went to New York, that's because the people, the different race in Atlanta can't say around us.
Yeah.
But when I went to New York, and I was like, how you saying it?
Yeah.
But we grew up. See, I grew up amongst Latinas, Latinos, and that is something that we've blurred a lot. But even in that, right?
See, we just
if
been
you're
black and
around
white.
different, but if you come and you're a different nationality and you're a different race, and you say that word to a different group of people that ain't you come to Atlanta and you Puerto Rican and you be like, please, they might not receive you. You've crossed the line with them.
But also, I want to acknowledge your perspective, Scrappy, because if we're making the argument that the historical harm of a word means it's off limits, then that's where your argument is coming from, right? So just like the word monkey is off limits because of that historical harm, the degradation and the violence that it led to, the N-word has also caused the same
I thought
degradation.
they supposed to be equal.
No, they ain't. Oh, excuse my language.
Hold
on, wait.
They are. I feel like a racial slur.
John, you
playing. Anybody would say the N-word and the monkey
It's not the same.
because it was used to categorize us as slaves. And I feel like a racial slur is just a racial slur.
And so that's the
I
question
feel like
too.
that.
If we let certain things slide, do we then say, oh, well, if you let that slip, then why not let the word monkey slip, right? And so maybe we do gatekeep the culture a little bit more. And so we also have the element of the color blue and purple colors, like even when we use the word black as an insult.
Yeah.
Right? So we're talking, black pride. We're so proud to be black. I love being black. And yet how often have we heard growing up, and even to this day, black being used as an insult,
All the
right?
time. Yeah.
Sit your black self down.
All the time. I've heard it all my
you
life.
You so black,
My
you
nickname
disappear
was
when they turn the
Blackie.
lights on.
My nickname growing up as a child was Blackie. My complexion is not an insult. I'm proud of who I am. I'm a beautiful woman. And I hate when people say, oh, you're so pretty for a black girl. Take the word black out of it. I'm a beautiful woman and I'm proud of who I am. Like I say, I'm proud of my color, I'm bleach. Yeah. So the complexion that I have has always been a target, as they think, to use to insult me.
Erica, she said, I have black children and I have I have a black husband. That doesn't mean that you're not racist, and it doesn't mean that you're not a colorist. So I think sometimes people, that's the go-to for someone that is a racist. I got black friends, how can I be a racist?
You can be a
might
racist.
like a black person.
Yes.
It doesn't mean that you won't.
You're a black person.
You won't use your power to degrade the race. And sometimes people get mixed up with fetish, black fetish.
That's what.
And also, I like the fact that my babies will be brown skinned.
Right.
They go to tanning salons all the time to be
That
brown.
does not mean you are not racist.
But
It does
hold
not
on,
take-
they don't want them too black though. They don't want them to come out too black. Right.
But they'll go in the tanning salon in the sprays and get too black.
Yeah.
All the time. They'll even braid their hair with coarse, thick, and it goes from not just wanting and fetishizing our culture, then it's cultural appropriation, where it's like, I did it, I created the cornrows, and now it's right, now it's great. When we are told, you can't come to work like that, but when another ethnicity of superiority or more power, it's more appealing. Now it's acceptable.
So I got a question.
Yes.
I got a question. So what is it called when black women walk around with this straight hair or these,
Because I can change
It's
the
called
way.
fashion.
Yeah.
It's an add-on like
Is
y'all
this-
tattoos.
So I'll tell you why I think it's
So this is
different.
not appropriation?
It depends on how the person is using it. Some black women do not love themselves the way they are. And I can take, for example, not every black woman would proudly wear their natural hair like this beautiful woman sitting right here, because they have a lot of self-hate. They don't love themselves enough to wear their natural hair. So they feel like the add-ons and the thing makes them look better or whatever the case
Because
may be.
society showed them that the kinky hair ain't pretty.
I've seen Sierra take her wig off and go around with her natural hair. I take my wig off all the time. I'm just always performing. I like mine's blue. So that's the persona that I created as Spice, but I love myself in my natural form.
Spice, do you feel like that's a
Their
self-care or
parents.
what the society made them feel? There are women who feel that way.
Society will make you feel that way, because in Jamaica, for example, where I come from, or everywhere, people bleach their skin and alter their appearance.
So that's the answer to Jock's question. Though.
Yes.
And why, when black women wear
That's
their
just
hair
considered
straight,
colorism?
it's different than when people who are not black wear our hairstyles and act like they invented it, right? Because they're doing it because, it's trendy, it's cute, I can be popular, I can come up, right? Black women have done it historically because it was the only way to get hired, because people would not treat us fairly
Is it
because
still
of the
that way?
discrimination.
Yes.
So the Crown
I'm like,
Act,
woman.
so they actually had to pass policies so that black women and all black people, to be honest, don't face hair discrimination at work. Don't get fired or get suspended from school or sent or told they can't walk across the stage or participate in a wrestling match because they have locks or because they have natural hair, right? And so white people have never faced that discrimination regardless of how they wear their hair.
They do that in black schools.
Cause I mean,
Yes,
when I hear like
That's crazy.
like when I see a beautiful black woman, right, of color, okay, and then I look around and then it's past the hair. Now you're contouring y'all noses to look like you're more European, and I'll be lost with that a little bit. I ain't gonna kick it.
Yeah.
Let me get directly to it, because I feel like we internalize racism as well. If I did not come here with this hair that does not belong to me, and I wore my natural hair, my same people, the black people, would comment so negatively
Yes.
about me. Why she couldn't do her hair?
This is so true.
Why she couldn't fix up herself? Why she never cream out her?
The black man is sitting here saying, yo, I want this complexion, I want this foreign chick. Then y'all sitting here, and please don't beat me up, y'all, but y'all are sitting here every day, you embellishing yourself to look closer to that what your man is saying he won't. So the woman who got these things your man say he won't, she's getting put in these videos, she's getting a front seat for the look. Naturally, do you think she's gonna feel like she looks better or is more superior than you? You let people into your culture so much. And they start looking at everything you got going on, and they start realizing like, well, they trying to look like me.
They trying to look like us. I think with the lip injections, with the tans, I think when you immerse with a culture that you love so much, no, because you gotta
Yeah, it's
understand.
just like they do like this.
These girls are trying to look like us. Absolutely. I wanted to be very clear.
Where in Black history did we get confused that we're trying to look like that? When we look and take the original face and shape, and then I look at my auntie, my granny, my mama, our slave, all of them, I'm like, you bought them lips, not trying to look like a white woman. I'm looking at the lips at the same. I'm just saying, you didn't buy those lips to look like Sarah. You bought her to look like Keisha.
Yeah, like I didn't buy these lips. I didn't buy these lips to look like Sarah. I bought these lips to look like goddamn Spice and
that part. But we have this confusion in the Black community that Black women are trying to be European. But I'm sitting here saying, look at Queen Nephew, look at it. The jewelry, the hair clips, she was on the same tip.
No, but Black women are the ones with the lips. Let's be very clear.
Like Spice has also said, is that there are Black people who don't like the way they look.
Yes, they are.
There are definitely
Yes,
Black
they
people
are.
who think
Yes,
the European
and the
look is
system
better.
creates that place for them to feel inferior as
Yeah,
well.
it's it.
Yes.
So also, because we're talking about racism, that is one of the tools of racism is to try to make us hate ourselves. So when we talk about low self-esteem, when we talk about internalized hatred for ourselves, they purposely implanted those ideas in us because they knew that they could dominate us. If we are fighting amongst ourselves, if we are hating ourselves, it's easier to marginalize us. So let's talk a little bit more about the overlap or the blurring of the lines between the Latinx community, the various Black communities across the diaspora. You all have already started to touch on that a little bit. So I want to know what's your understanding of a racial identity versus your ethnic identity, right? Because a lot of times we confuse race and ethnicity, right? Race has a lot to do with your ancestry and your phenotype, whereas ethnicity takes into account your culture. And so can you be Black and Puerto Rican? Are there Puerto Ricans who also identify as Black, right?
Absolutely.
Because there's African Americans.
Right.
I mean, Black Americans, white Americans. You got Black Puerto Ricans.
When your mama Black or your daddy Black, right?
Yeah, you're Black.
And then sometimes when it comes to race, people opt in or they opt out,
yeah.
right? Sometimes people say, I'm an Afro-Latina proudly, and then other times people say, I am Puerto Rican and Dominican, and they do not necessarily identify with the African side of their history.
And so where do you think that comes from when people distance themselves or when people deny African ancestry or when people, even if they look
crazy,
Black, they try to say, oh no, I'm not Black.
They look
I'm Puerto Rican.
delusional.
Where do you think that comes from?
System. Yeah.
System, people.
Every single thing about the American society, we get paid less. The lighter you are, the more you make. Even if there are identical educational backgrounds, and two people walk in to get a job, and I'm browner and you're lighter, there is a higher percentage that you'll get more money. If I'm driving here and you're driving there, we're both out of light, it's more likely for the darker person to get pulled over than the lighter and to be harassed than anything else. So in this society, absolutely, it takes off a bit of pressure and a bit of oppression to say, I'm not Black. Because you get to reap the privileges and the benefits of being that other, whatever that other thing is.
That's true.
You're not hated.
We're a visible society. When you look at me, I can't take off my blackness.
Me neither.
You look at me, you're gonna see that I'm Black.
Amen.
So I gotta live in it and I gotta own that and everything that comes with that.
We know it's never all of any group, right? But where it becomes a pattern, right, then we still have to address it. And that brings up the idea of desirability, right? And who's considered desirable in media. you talked about it already in the music lyrics and the music videos, right? How the lighter skinned girls are the racially ambiguous girls. One was the lighter skin tones, the wavy hair, are seen as the love interest, are seen as the ones that all the guys are falling in love with and chasing. And sometimes you don't even see dark skin.
I see a lot of brown skin.
It is changing.
I have a light complexion. My baby girl is light. And I feel like I have seen some lighter complexion women be like, well, dark skinned women get this. They get this right here. They look at us and be like, oh, we too light or something like that.
It's still because of how we were raised, though, in some type of way.
Because so much of us here of color is at the table when we speak on colorism, light-skinned people also receive colorism. And I feel like that's something we also need to point out and not just make it seem like it's just us.
Right.
I have light-skinned friends who have also received colorism.
So I have to chime in here. If someone is prejudiced against a light-skinned woman, does that equal a social system and where that light-skinned woman is demeaned or degraded, placed beneath darker-skinned people?
Nah.
Right.
Nah.
And so those women are still not systemically placed beneath darker skinned women. They're still systemically elevated, systemically propped up. Like you, I'm so glad you brought up, because people don't know that even within the race, even amongst black people, there's income inequality. There's educational inequality, even amongst black people because of the.
But do they know it though?
Right?
Do they know it though?
A lot of people don't. I also have to say, in order for those lighter-skinned and mulatto women to exist, they have to first rape dark-skinned, non-mixed black women.
Yes.
And so all of us have experienced that type of violence. All of us have been raped.
No, I didn't even think that deep. Like,
Amy, we know that you have another engagement, so we are so appreciative of the contributions you've made to the conversation so far. But yes.
I just wanted to say one thing to you, Spice. When they attack one, they attack all.
Yes.
It's time for us to lift up and say, hey, no. I just wanted to say that to you.
girl. We love you, Amy.
I love you, sis.
I got you.
So we left off talking about what happens when we see the harm, when we see the racial slurs, and how people are held accountable. I know, Yandy, you mentioned a moment where you tried to confront Erica and hold her accountable. We're going to take a look at that clip right now.
Calling a black person a monkey, listen, I was offended.
You was offended.
And let me tell you,
because you chose to be offended,
No.
Andy.
I was offended
because you know me. No one's going to violate me using my child. There's no boundaries at that point.
Once you cross that line,
I even told her she should have died on that table.
But what you said to her
and what she said to me,
when you called her a monkey, you insulted every person of African descent. No.
Let me explain to you guys that want to be offended by it.
You think I want to be offended by 400 years of slavery?
You do.
The reason why
I have 23.
Yes.
Why,
as
minorities, are we comparing ourselves to something that...
The problem, Erica, this is the problem, and that's why I want to know.
That's what I don't understand.
And this is exactly why I wanted to have a conversation with you.
I hated every single thing about that scene, and I went in there so humble, like really trying to be a friend and educate her in this moment. It was like the Montgomery Brawl. When she said monkey, it was like she threw up the white hat. Like, you summoned every black person in the community when you called Spice a monkey. But I wanted to educate her as to what this means for me, because I went in there really thinking she just used that term unknowingly. She probably has implicit bias, but she's not a racist. And I remember, you know, Rashida and Kirk was there as well, and there was a conversation where she was trying to say, well, I did this because she insulted my mother. And then she said, and I'll do it again.
The bitch crossed the line, she violated me by coming for my son, and I will do it all over the again if she does it again. It's just point blank, period. You're not gonna violate me using my kid in any type of way.
So you're saying you would say the same thing all over again?
I didn't say I would say the same thing. If I have to violate this bitch for talking about my kid, I will.
Okay? Rashida, me and her both just left feeling like, dang.
You just gotta take full accountability for
Exactly.
your actions. If you did wrong, just say sorry, bottom line.
Well, I don't know, man.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really agree with that either. I just feel like there's so much performative apologizing where it's just like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry for what I did, and I'm going to use my platform to racially educate, and I believe in inclusivity.
Sound like a PR.
It sounds like a publicist wrote that for you, and you did that because you're losing jobs or because the world has canceled you.
So I'm going to read the apology. She said, I deeply regret my insensitive comments and want to humbly apologize to anybody I hurt or offended by my thoughtlessness. My choice of words was wrong, and I take full responsibility for what I said. I am committed to listening to the voices of those affected and will work toward making amends. As a woman of color and the mother of 2 Black children, I want to make it clear that my use of the word was not in any way racially driven. That said, I do understand the gravity of what I said and want to use my platform to promote inclusivity and equality. So Spice, as the person who received the racial slur, it's important to understand how you would have liked the situation to be handled. What does accountability look like for you?
I take accountability for coming for Erica's parenting. But it doesn't sound to me like she wants to take accountability for being a racist or using a racial slur. So I can't trigger you to be a racist. You can't trigger someone to be a racist. And so for the people who wants to make it seem like they want me to take accountability for Erica's choice of words, I will not take accountability for that. Even in her apology, she did not.
She did not say Spice name. Everybody else.
So that's my next question.
So,
and
even in the apology, she said, but I'm not a racist. Or I'm not this, and I didn't use, so okay, why do you use the slur? What's your definition then of using a racial slur?
Do you want an apology, and do you think you're owed one?
I don't. I know it's not gonna come from a place of sorry. You can't just apologize because your pocket is being affected. You gotta really mean it. Every other group that has been a part of this network, that has been a part of television, you say something about, don't say it, but you say something about a particular religious group, yes, instantly you are fired.
And canceled.
Far too often, you speak about Black people and there is no accountability and nothing happens. So
We don't even do it.
We don't even do it. I've seen other races get attacked and they got fired immediately. And in this particular show, this is deep rooted in Black culture. How dare you disrespect Black culture and not be held accountable with the loss of income?
All right, and so I want to reiterate for us and for the audience as well, the difference between racism and colorism, but also their importance, right? And so we know that racism is a system of economic, social, and political power, right, that has elevated white people to the top of the hierarchy and has simultaneously pushed Black folks to the bottom of that hierarchy, right? Not by accident. And that colorism plays in tandem with racism, where even if we are all Black, if you have more Eurocentric appearances, if you have lighter skin, you're still given greater status and opportunity in the larger society. One thing I want to say too is that when it comes to something like racism and colorism, most people know about racial inequalities, right? But in terms of colorism, there's also systemic inequality, discrimination, and oppression that darker skinned people in our race also face. And so we can't address racism unless we also address colorism within our communities as well as without our communities.
Yes.
So in the season finale, we see a moment of conflict between Spice and Carly.
What the?
Some people are perhaps through the lens of colorism, because of their own colorist biases, unfairly judging the way Spice acted on the season relative to lighter-skinned castmates who might have also been, you know, aggressive to different people. And so do you all think that colorism played a big part in the way people are receiving and commenting about that particular episode?
Because I was reading the comments, and when I was seeing different people saying, Spice just so mean, look at her, I don't know what got into her, it's just like, okay, y'all doing this because she dark skinned.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is, bottom line. I've been aggressive, other women have been aggressive. They weren't going in on me like that. They wasn't going in on other people like that. They like over going in on you. And I believe because you're darker skin complected.
Absolutely. I think that so many times when we express emotion or show anger, we are labeled as angry Black women. And with that angry Black women comes the threat of, oh my gosh, she is so aggressive. Many of you have seen lighter skinned women attack a whole cast of people. I've seen a lighter skinned woman on this show attack another woman while she was down on the floor, kicking her in her crotch. All instances are wrong, but you cannot create this conversation around the fact that, oh, Spice is being so aggressive because she's dark-skinned. I would say this is more aggressive than I've ever seen you. And I know that it comes on the heels of so many things that you've been through leading up to that moment. But that doesn't make me think you are an aggressive person, and I will not ever think that all dark-skinned women are angry, mean, and aggressive.
I have been pretty aggressive this season. Again, I feel like it stems from a lot of things, a lot of hurt, a lot of pain, a lot of anger inside. I'm gonna leave this table to work on myself, to heal. I have had a traumatic experience as well. With Carly's situation, because that's what we ended with, it comes from a place of every time I love someone, they hurt me or betray me. And I think I sometimes make my anger get the best of me. And I just got to work on myself and take accountability for being angry because I'm so hurting. I don't want to blame it on colorism because I do know that a lot of people instill a lot of things on me because of my color. So I'm already guilty based on anything. And so I take full accountability for being a little hurt and angry this season, but I'm going to work on that and work on myself, and I know I'm going to heal and take away a lot from everything. But I'll work on myself. I started my journey, and I know I'll overcome.
Thank you so much for your
I'm sorry that I cried, but
connected.
So how can we, as a collective, elevate beyond hurtful words, beyond the fighting, beyond the circumstances that have brought us here today? What are your takeaways in terms of how we elevate and grow beyond this?
Seek help.
We just gotta really use our platforms like Yandy has been doing for years. When I talk about my testimony of how I had my daughter at 15, look how many followings it brought in, and I made it out of that and made millions of dollars. And look how much success and young girls look up to me from just that story. What if I use my platform and talk about this stuff that's going on? That's what we gotta do.
Yeah, I think we also have to take an active role in stopping the systems that promote racism and colorism. I think all of us have influence. All of us have some sort of privilege where we're celebrities and we have a voice and we have impact. But so often we stay silent on issues. We'll see things happen in the workplace. We won't speak on it. But we have the ability to create change. And I think once we start in our houses, then it goes to our neighborhoods, then from our neighborhoods, it goes to our communities, and eventually it'll hit the nation. But I think we have to take an active stance on breaking down these systems that promote racism.
I agree. As far as stepping up to the plate, holding people accountable, standing on your square. Because I ain't gonna lie, sometimes people are like, man, it wasn't that serious, man.
Yes, it was.
A whole nother race or religious group or just a group of people who stand for one another, they're not hearing that bad. They're hearing what it was.
And what it did.
Thank you all so much for your insightful comments. I'm so glad I got to sit down with all of you. This has allowed us to start to unpack a larger conversation.
Absolutely.
Like you're saying, it has to be an ongoing conversation. I don't want anyone to think that the hour we're sitting here is going to be the final conversation.
Right.
And so this is an opportunity for us to say, here's an instance of a much larger problem, right? And so when it comes to things like racism and colorism, they are so complex that it's not going to be solved overnight, but it's important to start. Also starting to do the internal work of where am I biased? Where have I caused people harm, and am I willing to be held accountable for that if I actually care to start to create change, right? Whether it's using your platform or your resources or your skills or your talents to pour back into young Black children and stuff to break the generational cycles, right? And so I hope that the folks who are watching are inspired by the cast that you are fans of to have conversations like this on your own, right? So in your spaces, in your workplaces, in your families, in your schools, bring some people to the table and start to open up this conversation, because it can't just be a one-time thing. And so we hope that there are important lessons that people have taken away, but also more importantly, that you will continue to not only have the conversations, but to do the deep inner work to create change within yourself first, and then have that ripple out to your families and larger communities. I hate to part ways because y'all are so dope, but you know. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Oh, appreciate you.
I appreciate you. See?
And there you have it. There you have it. There you have it. Once more and again, thank you all for sharing with me in the watching of this clip. It, I feel, opens the door. I'm with like, hey, it's Hazel Eyes. Good morning to everybody that came in while this was rolling. Retta Divine, I see it's Mo Better with Retta. Others came in. I don't want to miss anybody. But listen, we're going to come back. Today, we're going to go ahead and go over to Rebel's house with the Rebellious Ones. This is in my Discord channel for anybody that missed it and would like to see it in its entirety. It is there. But we want to come back and have more conversation, because we do need to address colorism and prejudice within the Black community and how it slips through the cracks. I love the conversation and the comments that I saw going on during the stream. Thank you so much for that. Very valuable insight. You can also go back and look at the chat if you want to. That's also in my Discord as well. But I feel like there's so much to be gained from this, and this is just the beginning of a convo. I want to appreciate Michelle Brown for bringing that to us this morning. This is the beginning of a conversation that's much needed, and it needs to happen. As I said, I, as a darker complected, melanated sister, I can remember from childhood, Blackie, Tar Baby, Little Black Sambo, all of those different things that those names were hurled on a regular by Black children. And you know they had to get it from somewhere. So at the end of the day, these disparities, these issues, they're still going on, even when you talk about the difference in pay between lighter complected and darker complected, and so on and so forth. I would love to continue this conversation. You recalled all that as well, K2 Hoop. So it's not dead. I'm 60 in a week or so, and as young as you are, it's still going on. You are light, bright, and damn near white. I see you, Hazel Eyes. And it's two-way. That goes both ways. It's not just an energy, a negative energy that's hurled against darker complected. There's also a negative energy that's directed and hurled against lighter complected individuals as well. We need to stop it. We need to stop it. We need to stop it. So we're working to that end, because we are community, and this Pride Alliance, PRIDE, this Pride Alliance, you're going to hear us roar. Now, we'll be back with more on tomorrow, but for today, we have concluded this session, and you all have been absolutely wonderful. Listen, it's time to get up out of here and head to Rebel's house, and we're going to have an enjoyable time with the Rebellious Ones on Thick Thigh Thursday. And I want to encourage you to know, listen, babies, don't get discouraged, because it won't be this way always. Yes, this has been another edition of Yes You O Cube with the spiritual thought leader. I'm so glad that you joined me on this fine day. Now listen, the reason why we showed that clip and the reason why we talk this talk, because we want to be the change. And you don't have to worry about doing it alone, because listen, we're trying to unite the people. It's this pride, Pride. This Pride Alliance is relentless, and you're going to hear us roar. It's us, you, me, we all. Now, I want to thank everybody that came in this morning. I appreciate you for being here. We're building something. My moderators, the Rebel Inc., Shelly Thunder, Michelle Browno. Listen, these babies are all that in a bag of chips. To everybody that followed on today, I want to say thank you and welcome to the Lion's Den. To all of my streamers, please put your information in the chat because we definitely want to follow you. I am so blessed and I am so thankful for those of you that love me enough, of the streamers and everybody. But streamers, I want to say thank you for coming in. Please put your times in. We want to follow you. Now, this song is brought to us by Regina Sims. Won't Be This Way Always. You can follow it and find it on iTunes, Amazon Music, Google Play, Spotify. You can book her if you like at prmusicgroup.com. I promise you, she's going to bless your whole life. My sponsors, my corporate sponsor, David Ryan Charity, where the motto is love on purpose. I want to say thank you to you. And listen, you're doing a good work and you can't come down. Now follow us over to Rebels House. Follow this raid train. It's moving. We're headed over to Rebels for Thick Thigh Thursday, and I want you to join me over there. My moderators always say, have an amazing day on purpose. Listen, I want you to do what you love what you do. And at the end of the day, love, light, peace, and liberation. Peace for your journey.